Hey everybody! Welcome back to Northernlion plays The Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. -2 wins in a row. Let's go, boys. Oh, Isaac, the most cursed character. No, it's been a couple of days. I'm back. I'm feeling good. I'm getting the mouse pointer off the screen. 06AW7TA7. You know, when it rains, it pours. It's a good idiom. You know why? On the one hand, it's useful in modern day life is when, you know, something happens, more things like it are likely to happen. And secondarily, it betrays a certain sense of statistical ignorance because it can't pour unless it's raining in the first place. So it's very ripe for observer bias, but you know, we don't need to necessarily go down that road. All I'm saying is I understand, you know, some confluence of consistently bad play, combined with maybe a seed where things were not handed to us, likely to lead to a situation in which we are more likely to lose than average. So what do? We start rebuilding. Yo, don't you dare, buddy. Been having a bad weekend for video games. Not really doing so hot in the old video games. Sometimes you see the game well, sometimes you don't. The only way to get out of that situation... okay, sure. The only way to get out of that situation where you don't see the game well is to play it a little bit more. I don't mean to alarm you, but I did make a meme this weekend. I know, are you feeling okay? Well, the meme was quiz show related, so you know that I'm still the same old NL. Said it was a side-by-side image. One was me playing games off-stream, and it was a picture of Ken Jennings from Jeopardy, 74-day champ, $2.5 million earned. Or won, depending on your perception. Can anyone really earn $2.5 million? Sorry, I've been reading a lot of Twitter lately. And then the other one was me playing games on stream, and it was the picture that is definitely Photoshopped, but it got my point across nonetheless, of a woman on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The question is, which of these is largest? And it's a kettle, the moon, an elephant, or a peanut. And she's saying the moon. Or sorry, she's saying an elephant and looking incredulous that she's incorrect. It's a good meme. I would encourage you to check it out. If you're looking for memes, Twitter.com/NorthernlionLP is a purveyor of some of the... Here's why you should follow me on Twitter. Because anytime I post a joke, it's always begrudging. You know, I'm always like, I have succumbed to my most basal influences to try to be funny. Telling a joke on Twitter is just self-glorification. I still do it. No, my deal with the devil. But I always feel regretful of it. So that's why you should follow me. Everybody else is, you know, gleefully typing their pun into, you know, Twitter. Taking people on a ruse for, you know, 20 tweets, and then at the end it says, like, and that's how they invented the Caesar salad. And you go, oh, groan. My joke is just like, I mean, here's a little joke for you about murder. You guys been watching that Ted Bundy documentary on Netflix? I don't understand. People are mad about the Ted Bundy documentary because some people think it's glorifying Ted Bundy. It's not. In my opinion, I mean, this is not the joke, by the way. Should have really used the bomb there. Let's go do some more floors here. But they're like, you know, isn't it problematic that at multiple times during the Ted Bundy documentary they describe him as being handsome? My personal opinion on that, without being too offensive, is like, are you 12 years old? When you watch it within the context of the documentary, the fact that Ted Bundy is mentioned as being handsome does come up time and time again. It's used as an inoculator. You know, it's used to illustrate that he was effective at his horrible perversion because of like the halo effect, basically. That people were like, you know, oh, he's handsome, so sure, you know, I'll agree with whatever he says for now, and then, you know, bad things happen afterwards, obviously. But anyway, where was I going with this? The joke is very simple, you know? It says, and I said it on Twitch yesterday, the absolute crucible of comedy, and I said, Bro, I've been watching that Ted Bundy documentary on Netflix, and I'm no cop, but I'm starting to think that he did it. That's a joke that I feel bad about. Not because of the murder situation, although, yeah, that's also part of it. But just because it's just a cheap laugh. But if you're looking for that, know that every time it gets favored and retweeted and, you know, Rhodes scholars throughout the planet go, ha ha ha, this was very funny, a little bit of my self-confidence and pride gets chipped away every single time. So that's why you should follow me on Twitter. You know what? No. I'm happy with the speed upgrade, to be honest. I'm happy with our existing damage. I didn't want to lose our neutral fly for a random demonic familiar. I'm actually, I'm content with where we stand right now. This isn't a joke, by the way, but Bear was tweeting, and he was like, you know, maybe we shouldn't glorify serial killers, and then that Netflix documentary just says, you know, hey, Ted Bundy was hot. I support it, and, you know, I phrased it in what I thought was a humorous way, but I also believe it, that, well, to some extent at least, that that documentary is teaching you not to trust attractive people. I think that's a good lesson for society. You know, not that you should implicitly distrust attractive or handsome or beautiful people, but that you shouldn't just assume, you know, that just because, I mean, even, I think this mostly happens on a subconscious level, but you shouldn't assume just because they're, you know, a good-looking snake oil salesman that the snake oil's gonna hook you up, you know? That's why I only take workout advice from people who are out of shape. People who are in shape, dude, it's too easy. You know, you maybe you didn't even use what you're telling me to get into shape, but people who are out of shape, I mean, obviously, what they've got... Where am I going? I don't know where I'm going with this. It doesn't freaking matter, man. Okay. Economically, we're in a wonderful situation here. You know what? Traded a bomb for a key. And then traded our time for nothing. That's a much worse deal. Oh, well. I mean, I think we're in a very good spot, actually. And Mysterious Liquid has... It's an item that when you pay close attention, you actually, I think, are likely to realize how useful it can be for you. It's really, I mean, the little bit of extra damage you get from it, that's real, right? You get a little extra damage from it, I think. It's something, but the creep, especially against some enemies, just bodies them really hard. I was at the movie theater this weekend, believe it or not. You're gonna say, oh, NL, what Marvel movie came out? Okay, well, for your information, smart guy, I wasn't seeing a Marvel movie. I was seeing a Sony movie that was made in association with Marvel Studios called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, Blank Card Alges is real good, but I don't want to lose the D6. It's the fever for the flavor of an Isaac run, you know? Instead, we'll take the starter deck and... Question mark card? Meh. Give me that en sus for now. And it was very, very good. I've seen, and this is the cycle of the internet. If you ever wonder why I don't upload videos where I say, like, Metroid Prime 4 canceled with me, with my mouth open and, you know, my eyes photoshopped to be larger and, like, an explosion in the background. There's two reasons. One is, you know, I've been on the internet a long time. I've been going through this exact line of, you know, discourse since StarCraft Ghost, you know? And if you don't even know what that is, feel free to go back and look it up. The other one is, you know, having the same conversation so many times, it gets very tiresome, you know? So here's what happens. Spider-Verse comes out. Most people don't really know what's up with it. They're like, it's a little weird. Another Spider-Man movie? An animated Spider-Man movie? Reviews are good. People watch it. They go, holy crap, this is some of the best animation I've ever seen in a, you know, a AAA movie in my entire life. And then word of mouth spreads, and it gets very, very popular, at least with the subculture of, you know, internet nerds, myself included. And then the backlash starts between people who haven't even seen the movie yet. Shut up about Spider-Verse. Okay, I get it. It's good, but is it that good? Like it's such a, like a crime that they have heard about the fact that something is good. I mean, I'm basically talking about myself and the reaction to Undertale, but this isn't a cheeky skeleton. This is a man who's also bitten by a radioactive spider, which is way cooler. Although I will say, first off, I mean, after I played Undertale, I understood. I liked it a great deal. And then it's been completely redeemed by Jablinski Games, you know? My dude's really putting it together for Undertale. Oh, absolutely. And, excuse me, don't do that. I am still going to use the question mark card here. Anyway. I saw it. Here's the thing. If you look at a movie as if it's, you know, the most important thing in a movie, and I mean, there's gradations here. If all you're seeing a movie for is the story of Spider-Verse is good, but the arc is relatively standard superhero fare. It's not a landmark story, you know, where... I mean, I'm not saying you can predict every single story beat, because there's some unique stuff that happens. But the general, you know, the conflict, the denouement, the rise and fall, and the climax, you know, is fairly predictable. It is also a movie, and don't shoot the messenger on this one, that is designed, I'm not going to say for children, but for general audiences. You know, this isn't Un Chien Andalou or something like that, you know. Sometimes I just... There's like this weird pull that happens to young adults, and it's happened to me in the past, and, you know, probably will happen to me again in the future, where, like, you know, a Pixar movie or, you know, another animated movie gets, like, a lot of love. Bumblebee, I think, is a great example, if I'm going to self-caricaturize. And, you know, as a 30-year-old man, I saw Bumblebee, and I was like, well, I don't see why it's got 95 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's because it's made for 12-year-olds. You know, don't take it the wrong way. If you're 30 and you enjoyed Bumblebee, that doesn't mean you have the psyche of a 12-year-old. It just means you watched a movie that was meant to be enjoyable by general audiences and you enjoyed it. But, you know, rarely are these movies going to be like, oh, yeah, there's a layer that as an adult really, you know, you can only understand the subtext of that Transformers movie if you've lived for 30 years on God's green earth, you know? And that's pretty much where I ended up. Sure. On Spider-Verse as well, is that from a story standpoint, it's fine. You know, it's an entertaining story, but certainly nothing that hasn't been seen very similarly before in, you know, just about every superhero movie. Yo, we're low on HP. Don't do this to me. Not today. Not while I'm talking about Spider-Verse. And I'm not afraid of, like, aren't you afraid of the backlash from saying that? No, because the movie still slaps, like, to an extreme degree. You know why? Because this isn't, you know, this isn't GameSpy circa 2001. You know, you don't give a movie or any piece of art a grade by, well, the story was a 3 out of 5, the visuals were a 5, so the overall product is a 4, you know? This movie is substantially more... Oh, hello. Dude, that's pull yourself up by your bootstraps, Bumbo. I appreciate it. Bill Maher would be proud. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. But the visuals, and not just the visuals, because I think the animation is extremely good and everybody's talking about it, but also the music. Really just the audio-visual presentation in general, extremely fresh, extremely exciting, really. And I hate to say that about a passive form of media because it opens me up to caricaturization, but really, really, really strong. And you don't need, you know, a 5,000th person to tell you this, I'm sure, but if you haven't seen Spider-Verse and you're like, I was waiting on NL to tell me about it, here you go. When you get the chance, it's probably basically closer to being out on Blu-ray now, but, you know, you can still catch it in the theater. Our theater was pretty full, honestly, and the movie came out like a month and a half ago. Anyway, the backlash for Spider-Verse is coming because there's no faster way to look like a smart person than to... And I see this, and, you know, I might be being pedantic. There's a form of criticism of media on the internet that irritates me to no end. And that's I like, you know, in a tweet or in a review, saying I liked it, but then devoting an equal amount of time to extremely pedantic complaints. A really good example, in my opinion, and this is gonna open me up to criticism as well, is in Black Panther, okay? I like Black Panther. I don't think it's deserving, in my opinion, of being nominated for Best Picture, but I liked it. Like, and this is basically, I'm insulting Austin directly here without giving him a chance to defend himself. However, not insulting, criticizing. Much in the same way that he criticized Ryan Coogler without giving him a chance to defend himself, I might have. Anyway, all I'm saying is the number of tweets I saw that was like, Black Panther was pretty good, but what's up with that "what are those" joke halfway through? Yo, that's not a good way to, like, I mean, oh, well, I went and saw the Mona Lisa at the, okay, maybe we shouldn't compare Black Panther to the Mona Lisa, for a couple of reasons, one of which is that, you know, the Mona Lisa is a classic and enduring piece of art. The other one is that, I don't know if it's actually a good painting at all, because I know nothing about visual art. Okay, he won't die. He's immortal. What happened there? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills to some extent. Was he regenerating HP? Something doesn't seem right. Bumbo, just carry me. Win me this run, please. I need it, apparently. Anyway, but you know, it's just like, I get it. I understand that we've been trained by a litany of English teachers who are like, well, no, it's not even that. Let's take a different tact here. I think the nature of criticism online is that if you're seen as being breathlessly positive about something, it makes you look suspicious. So the shorthand for getting some kind of authority is to be like, hey, I really liked this thing, but just so you know, I'm not a cop. It also did have one really bad moment in it. And then people look at that and go, well, he's being honest because he said one bad thing about it. He said many good things and one bad thing, which means I trust him. I'm just here to tell you, I don't buy it. Sometimes, you know, the criticism is so minor in comparison to the praise, it doesn't even warrant mentioning. I'm not saying you should gloss over any and all criticism. I'm just saying, you know, if something's good, I find it a little bit self-serving to also be like, but hey, there's this bad thing here. If you're really hyper offended by a meme, you should consider it. It's good if you're a fan of the genre. You get the idea. So that's where I'm at with Spider-Verse here. I can already feel the criticism coming. And, you know, all criticism is warranted, I suppose. You know, as long as it's based on something. But it's going to be like, yeah, the audio-visual stuff is good, but what about the story? Yo, bro. Have you seen any superhero movie ever made? I love them. They're almost all the same. I would never suggest that they're not. There are some that, you know, are a little bit different, but at the end of the day, most of them are like, you know, you get the idea. Anyway, I like Spider-Verse a lot. That's where I'm coming at that one from. I would definitely recommend it. I mean, in terms of like the Marvel movies released in 2018, I still prefer Infinity War. But I think I might prefer Spider-Verse over Black Panther or Ant-Man and the Wasp. That being said, I don't want to see it again for a while. I don't know, like, again, I'm not criticizing people who do this because there's a certain level of hypocrisy there, but, you know, there was that one dude who saw Infinity War after it came out. He saw it every day for, like, 4 months. That's not a joke, by the way. And then, you know, now I'm seeing the same thing with Spider-Verse. If that's what you want to do with your day off, don't let some layperson on the internet be like, hey, that's stupid. Don't do this thing that you enjoy. All I'm saying is, you know, it's not for me. I have seen movies more than once in the theater. I'm trying to, it's not many. I definitely saw Spider-Man 1 more than once in the theater. I might have seen Spider-Man 2 more than once in the theater as well. But I honestly... Well, actually, you know what? There's one other movie. Actually, I might have seen The Dark Knight twice. But I definitely saw The Hangover twice as well. Now, I'm about to admit to a misdemeanor, for which I hope the statute of limitations has expired. I forget the movie that it was, but I'm pretty sure it was one of either Terminator Salvation or Transformers 2. I bought a ticket for that, having already seen The Hangover. And halfway into the movie, I went, you know what? This movie absolutely blows. I think I'd like to reroll this yet again. And I walked into The Hangover. Now, it's, you know, I don't think I have what I would describe as an unusual opinion on The Hangover. But I still, to this day, I mean, it's a little bit of a vestige, I suppose. I think the first Hangover is very good, and it was fresh at the time that it came out. The other two are an absolute abomination. Fast follow, cash grabs. I mean, I saw The Hangover 2, not in theaters, because I was like, I mean, how many times can these middle-aged men get hungover? This seems a little bit unlikely. You know, haven't they learned their lesson about responsible consumption yet? Anyway, I saw it, and I was looking around me, and I said, wait a minute, did you guys realize that this is exactly the same movie, but set in Thailand? To their credit, they were like, yeah, this sucks. I think there was a certain percentage of people, and it might depend on your age, that were like, yeah, it rules. If you like the first one and the second one's exactly the same, well, it's easy money. Anyway. I mean, it's not a money thing, it's just more like, you know, once I've seen the movie once, unless it's truly spectacular, or, you know, I don't know, I'm looking for stuff that I missed. I don't want to see. I mean, you're really going to see Infinity War 70 times? I've seen people on Twitter that are like, I've seen Spider-Verse 3 times. Okay. I wouldn't see it 3 times in theaters. I could see myself watching it 3 times over the course of my entire life, and that's an admission that I think the movie is very good. But, you know, 3 times, that's 6 hours. It's not that bad. The dude who watched Infinity War like 90 times, you just gotta be like, really? Please stop spitting that out. Again, feel free to do whatever you want with your life. And that, I understand that sounds like it's dripping with malice. I don't really mean it like that, you know? Like, genuinely, it doesn't harm anybody. But I do think that people were going like, bro, this is really cool. When what they should have been going is, bro, are you okay? Like, was anybody checking to see if, like, the release of Infinity War corresponded with an event that was very traumatic in his life? Or was everybody just like, yo, this is sick, dude? Because, like, everybody asked him what he thought of Thanos, but did anybody ask him how he felt? Or what was going on in his life? Also, don't get me wrong. I would never want to anger the gamers. I'm a gamer myself. Especially now that I'm BD in Smash. BD stands for the tool that soccer is played with. Combined with the first of 3 words in the Samuel L. Jackson movie about sharks. Suck on that, Google DeepMind. It's going to take you 10 years to get to that level of parsing. But it reminds me that I read something. It was on Reddit, I think, and it was a study that was done by like the British Council on Addiction or something along those lines. And it was like they did a study on whether, you know, video gaming as a hobby has similarities to an addiction. And I know you're getting ready to be like, what's the URL? Nah, they did the research and were like, it's a hobby. It's not an addiction. So stop, you know, hand-wringing over, you know, your 8-year-old playing Fortnite. But then, there were people in the comments that were like, you know, as a kid, you can play a lot of video games easily, you know, in your free time and get away with it. But as an adult, it becomes harder. And somebody, and it was very upvoted, so maybe I'm in the minority here, was like, actually, you know, I'm an adult, I have a full-time job and a family, and I get to, you know, I play like 3 hours a day of video games. It's like 20 hours a week. That's Easy. Where it gets hard is playing 6 hours a night. And I was running the numbers, and I'm like, bro, I mean, I play video games for my job. And again, it's not shaming. If you can find this time and space in your life, that's fine. So I'm kind of an aberrant case. You know what? We got 37 keys, dude. But, like, you're really gonna lecture other adults on, like, you know, hey, actually playing 3 hours of video games a night is easy. Even in your 30s and 40s. Playing 6 hours is where it becomes tough. Yeah, no kidding. Like, if you get up at 8 so you can be to work by 9... and it's the matriarch, I hate you. And then you know, finish work at, let's say, 4:35, drive home, cook dinner. You know, I get that you could fit in 3 hours there, you know, from like, you know, 5:30 or 6 to 8 or 9. Sure, there's 3 hours. But like 6, yeah, you're not wrong. That's like impossible. It's literally like on your weekdays, every instant of free time is spent playing video games. I'm not saying you can't do it, obviously, but I'll be a little controversial, okay? I don't think you should. A couple hours, and by the way, there are worse hobbies. This is where I find I straddle the line between a middle-aged mother in the 1960s who thinks that Dungeons and Dragons is gonna like turn her kid into a, you know, a devil worshiper or something like that, and the hardcore gamer myself. I'm somewhere in the middle, I guess, because like, here's the thing: other adults won't tell you. You can be smug about it, and that I think you're totally fine to be smug about this. A lot of other adults in their 20s and 30s go out once or twice a week, spend a lot of money on alcohol, compromise, you know, part of their Saturday or their Sunday morning as a result of the hangover, and then would have the audacity to be like, what are you doing playing video games? You know, a habit that is actually financially and also, like, no, physically healthier than that. And I'm not being a teetotaler here by any stretch of the imagination either. However, I do think if you're a teenager or you're in college and you got a lot of free time somehow, ignore this, okay? But like, I do think playing 6 hours of games in your free time is dangerous. Wouldn't be the right word. I'm trying to think of what I think the right word is. Like, what I'm coming up right now is a hyphenated word, which is cheating. The hyphenated word is ill-advised. I think we need the HP. You know, you don't want to lecture, and that's fine. I understand that, because I've been there. But simultaneously, you know, if you even took 2 hours of that 6 hours of gaming time, and you devoted it to, and I understand, you're like, well, what separates gaming from somebody who comes home and watches TV for 6 hours a night? The answer is nothing, but I don't think that's what you're looking for. You know, I think as much as games do have, like, you know, the benefit of puzzle solving and, you know, introducing you to a story and, you know, challenge and stuff like that, or, you know, bonding experiences with your friend in online multiplayer games or stuff along those lines, you know, it's still, it's a passive hobby to some extent, you know. If you took, like, even if you took half an hour of that 6 hours a day and you, like, you know, went for a walk outside, or, you know, you worked on a skill that not even for work or anything, but, you know, like, I want to get into woodworking. You read a little bit of, like, a book on woodworking or something like that. That's not to say you should take that to the logical extreme and go, like, you know, hey, yeah, I'll just spend all waking hours. This is, again, I've used the argument myself, so I understand it, but, you know, as soon as somebody suggests, like, hey, maybe take a little bit of your free time and do something that's seen as productive. Yeah, late-stage capitalism has led you to believe that all of your hobbies need to be monetized in order to be productive. No, I'm just saying, like, maybe we could all be, and I could take this advice myself, you know, we could all be a little happier, a little bit more mentally well-centered, you know, if we took a walk outside, you know, did some meal prep or something like that. examined a different hobby that maybe had a more appreciable positive impact on our future life or something like that. I'm not saying you need to take all 6 hours. I mean, you know how many hours a week I completely waste in Slay the Spire just losing over and over off camera? It's in the low double digits probably. So again, oh, but actually that's just practice for work. Yes, give me the fire rate increase, please, and then reroll every... Ooh, maybe this is not that good in hindsight. I don't know where I'm going with this. Give me the straw. This is a weird one. We're gonna win, though. And it didn't look like it was gonna be like that for the whole run. I'm just saying, you know? I'm with you, gamers. As soon as somebody's like, my 12-year-old plays 2 hours of Fortnite a night. I'm like, yeah, you know? He's 12. What else are you gonna do? I mean, because I am an evil human being, I do think that, at least when I was 12, when I look back, I'm like, man, they should have given me more homework. I spent so much time idly doing absolutely nothing. But this is not, I'm not willing to go to bat for that to be the best possible opinion out there. I think that's a little bit, you know, let kids just enjoy themselves. Yeah, well, what are you doing? Just watching, you know, 2 hours of the news every night, you know? I would rather my kid be playing Fortnite than watching the news, probably. That's a different discussion for a different day, admittedly. But, I do think that, you know, with our hobby, we could examine... Because there's... I mean, all hobbies can become obsessions. But whenever somebody's like, you know... I'm a jogger. Very rarely are they like... Yeah, I went home from work last night and I just... Dude, I jogged for like 8 hours. I jogged for so long that I like didn't even get enough sleep. You know, I stayed up jogging until like 2 in the morning. I'm so tired. And someone's into like carpentry. They're like, bro, I've spent like 80 hours this week building a birdhouse. And I've almost got the level 99 Gladius. I'm just saying it's one of the easiest hobbies to OD on, to the point that I don't want to say it's destructive, but it maybe becomes a little bit ill-advised, okay? Gamers, rise up. NL is your enemy. No, don't do it. I'm here. Smash. Don't forget about Smash. Anyway, thanks for... I'm just saying, you know... NL tells core audience to put down the controller and go outside for... No, I didn't say that. Just said we should examine our relationship with it. And kudos to the BBC for recognizing in its research that, you know, it's not an addiction. It's just a hobby. I think some people can become addicted to it, but I think at that level, people can become addicted to anything, you know. These 40-year-old people in 1996 got addicted to buying Beanie Babies. Where is my study on that? Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. I'll still radio. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!